You are now in tune with the community on 318 Latino. Meet interesting people who make our community great. Hear their stories, check out their projects.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here with us today on 318 Latino, your Hispanic media in Shreveport, Louisiana. And well, today's interview is going to be with Mr. Charlie Caldwel, the Shreveport City Marshal. We're also going to have in the studio Mr. James Jefferson. He's Chief Deputy. Today we're going to talk about the infrastructure of the Shreveport City Marshals. We're going to talk about police in general. We're going to talk about prison systems and about Mr. Charlie's campaign for City Marshal. He is running for re-election this year, so we're going to learn a lot more about his campaign. We'll be right back after the short messages from our sponsors.
Hello, Shreveport. This is Charlie Caldwel Jr., your Shreveport City Marshal. In this November 3rd election, there is only one clear choice for City Marshal. By weighing options, you will see that I remain true to my promises to the voters. Continuing education for the deputies and public, also keeping my open door policy to be sure that you, the public, continue to receive fair and honest treatment from my office. So join me and my team to continue the great service for the citizens of Shreveport and Ward 4 of Caddo Parish by re-electing me as your Shreveport City Marshal. Thank you for your vote and support. Number 77 on your ballot. Paid for by Charlie Caldwel Jr. Campaign Committee.
Let me get started here with our interview. So getting to know the City Marshal, all right? You have 2 terms so far.
Yes, sir.
Which, proves you're popular among the community.
Yes,
people know you, people like you.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your roots. Tell us,
yes, sir,
what got you interested in doing law enforcement.
Awesome. Well, that's a great thing. And Brian, I really appreciate you guys allowing me to be on your show today, me and my Chief Deputy, James Jefferson. And, well, I am the Shreveport City Marshal. And like I say, I've been in law enforcement since I was 21. And so a little over 30 years I've been there. And so I've helped people, and it's been a passion of mine to help people, not just people, but all people, all walks of life, of people, because, in life you're going to find out that everybody needs assistance. Everybody needs help, regardless of who you are, what race you are. And I'm sure that a lot of my Spanish friends that will hear me on the radio will be like, oh, that's Charlie, so that's cool. And it's one of those things that, I just want to make a difference in individuals' lives, and I want to make sure that individuals know that what we're doing it for the right reasons. We're just not doing it just to be doing it, because we've been doing it a long time, and we've been doing it to help people genuinely. Where you get a lot of individuals that have certain motives and different things that, why they're doing it, reason why they're doing it. But it's no hidden agendas in our office or in my heart. Mine is all genuine, all people, and that's what I try to get, out to the individuals. Now, me, my affiliation with law enforcement, how long I've been, just as Brian said, this is my 2nd term, and the Marshal has 6-year terms. The Marshal is the executive officer of the court. We're in charge of administrating, fines and different things like that, taking the fines and unfortunately dealing with the incarceration of individuals as well. But, like I tell a lot of individuals, if the Marshal don't come to your house or we don't have to deal with you, a lot of people say, well, I don't know the Marshal, which a lot of people don't know. That means that you've been living a good life for the most, if you don't know, much about us. But the law books also state that the Marshal has the same powers and authority of the sheriff. So we're like the sheriff in the city form. We deal with Shreveport City Court. We're misdemeanor court, a court of limited jurisdiction. That's what we do. And it's been a passion of mine, law enforcement, ever since I was a young lad. In all actuality, just like everybody in their walk of life, nobody really know what they want to do until something comes across and you're like, wow, I've tried this, I've tried that, tried several things, but I'm good at this. Mm-hmm. And so I tried that law enforcement, looking at the newspaper when I was a young kid, looked at newspapers, saw article in there that say put a star in your future. I applied, and 33, 34 years later, here I am. So that's the way I look at it. And I saw it, did it, and I found out it was my niche. It's what I was good at. And that's what I've done. And I've created so many relationships while doing it. From Indian descent to the Spanish descent to the, our people, the black, African American descent, the Caucasian, the white, the Asian. We've touched lives through every nationality. We touch lives, even in the Muslim community. We've dealt with a lot of different individuals, and I have friends in every community that I've just named. And I'm glad to be and proud to be friends of these individuals, and it's just been a lifelong happy relationship with these people, and I've enjoyed it all my life. You got to look at it that everybody have those stumbling blocks in life. And me as an African American marshal, or law enforcement, I've had my school of hard knocks when I was young. Dealing with the law. The law, bothering you, that you feel that you're not doing anything for them to bother you, but they did. So it's going to take people like you and I to make a difference in the community, dealing with, on how law enforcement operates. I want to be a friend to the Hispanic community. I want to make it a lifelong thing, which technically I have on different levels, but I want my office to be that way and have it as a lifelong line of communication, a line of friendship through the Spanish community and the Marshal's office. I don't want any individual of any descent to feel threatened or feel intimidated by my office. I want my office to be a reflection of me, the leadership. That's what I want it to be. And I want Chief Jefferson to carry on the same tradition when I leave, because it's just one of those things. I just mean and believe that, when you're good to people, good will come back tenfold, Brian.
I believe in that, absolutely. Yes. It's karma, give and take, that way of life. I completely believe in that. Now, Chief, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Just what exactly are the responsibilities of the city marshal? You mentioned that the sheriff and the marshal, kind of share the same powers. One's city, the other one's, parish. But what exactly are the responsibilities?
One of our main responsibilities is security for Shreveport City Court. We provide all the security for the courthouse. We have 4 city judges that we have to protect on a daily basis, along with the citizens that come through our city court. We have a garnishment department that we run. We have a bailiff section. We actually go out and repo furniture. We do evictions, and we have a fines and bonds department as well.
Excellent. So most Hispanics, I would say, we don't really know how the different departments of law enforcement work. There's the police officers, which we're probably going to encounter more than anything.
Exactly.
There's the sheriffs, city marshals, and then there's state troopers. And if you catch one of those, man, you're careful.
That's right. That's right.
So, can you tell us the different, departments? What are they responsible for?
Yes, Chief, you want me to elaborate a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. When you're looking at the marshal's office, all of us are law enforcement agencies. All of us are post-certified by the state. That means that we police academy. 16 weeks. At the academy, doing all training, arrest procedures, felony stops, different things like that, investigative procedures, different things like that, knowing how to write tickets, just all kind of different police building entrances, how to go inside a building, how to clear a building, different things like that. And all of us do that from every agency there is. But state police, their main goal is trafficking. drug trafficking throughout the highways and byways of, the state of any state that has state police, because every state has state police. So that's their main thing, drug trafficking and traffic. Monitoring traffic, monitoring suspicious activities, suspicious vehicles, different things like that. Having probable cause to stop. Now, I don't know, it's one of those things, what's considered probable cause. Probable cause, illegal lane changes without your signal, right. Not having a busted tail light, right. Something that they can come behind you and be like, well, I don't have enough, but it's tail light bust, so boom, I can pull him over. Somebody throwing something out of the car. Just different things like that, and that's what you have to. Even it's something that's minute as a cigarette butt. That's littering, So that's probable cause, and that probable cause could lead
something hanging from the mirror.
Yeah. Yes, and that probable cause could lead to other investigations.
Right.
The smell of marijuana, the smell of alcohol. And that's what you have to look at. And any one of us could do that, from Shreveport Police, the Cattle Sheriff's Office, to the Marshal's Office, to the State Police. Any one of us could do that, and any one of us could arrest in those capacities. My office, we have a warrants and intelligence team in my office as well. That's one of our departments, and they team up with Shreveport Police, State Probation and the state police. We team up with all of the law enforcement entities to go out on our warrant operations, and most of the time we do the business at night, because that's when most crimes are done, most deals are done, dirty deeds are done at night. For the most, as the song goes, the freaks come out at night, different strange things happen at night. And that's why we do our operations at night, do them certain times of the night, and target certain different areas where we have intel, where some of the hot spots are, some of the most wanted individuals that we're looking for. And sometimes some people just get caught up in the situation. You could be over visiting a friend, and we make a raid in that house, everybody goes to jail, until we clear everything out. Till everything is cleared up on who was there. I was just there visiting, don't know, visiting him, her, yada, yada, yada. It happens until you sort whatever situation's out. Like I say, we have our deal. We also, just as the Sheriff's Office, we have court orders that we have to execute as well. Our court orders, only the Sheriff's Office and the Marshal's Office deal with court situation, court entities and stuff like that, serving the court documents in timely manners and stuff like that. The police department, they deal with mostly criminal law. They deal with mostly criminal. We deal with mostly civil and criminal. That's what the Marshal's Office do. That's what the Sheriff's Office do. We deal just like the Sheriff's, civil and criminal. The state police deal with criminal law, but a lot of traffic law, because, they're dealing with more traffic situations and different things like that. But, all of us are technically, when it gets down to actually doing what law enforcement is supposed to do, we all can dibble and dab, and we all can get involved.
Right.
Yes, on that. So separate us. The Marshal's Office run city court, Sheriff's Office run district court, and the documents that come from the different court system. The state police deal with state issues, drug trafficking, traffic laws, and different stuff like that. Weights and standards. The big trucks that they have problems with, overloads and different stuff like that. They deal with that, and that's basically it when it comes to the four law enforcement entities and what we do and what separates us. The sheriff and the marshal, we're elected. The sheriff is elected for 4 years. The marshal is elected for 6 years. The state police, the commander, is appointed by the governor. The chief of police is appointed by the mayor. I don't work for the mayor. The sheriff don't work for the mayor.
Right.
We work for the people.
That was actually my next question. I was going to ask you a little bit about that. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, it's okay.
But yeah, do you feel like there is a disadvantage to being able to do your job as far as having to worry about an election? Because like you said, both the marshal and the sheriff have to be elected.
Yes.
The chief and the state police chief, I believe, commander, both of them are appointed by a higher up.
Yeah, by the governor and by the mayor.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, so, because right now I'm in the middle of an election. But the thing about it is that I have to still do my job.
Right.
So at the same time, but, the law has it that every day that I'm out, I'm politicking. So I'm working every day, even if it's not election year, because I'm meeting people all the time. Now a lot of times people don't know who I am. They'll find out through a friend or say something like, oh, who that is, or that's the marshal. And like, really? Damn, he hanging out with us? Of course. That's what I do. I'm that people person. And I've always been that people person. That's what I like about me and what I do. That's what separates me from the other entities, the other individuals that are out there, and it's just, we can go on and on all day about, what the different entities do. Gotcha. And different things like that. And purpose, helping people, what special programs that we have, different things like that, and it's plenty, we have our Amnesty Day that we out to help the individuals, to clear up all the warrants citywide, and that my office do that. Actually, I started that when I first got elected 12 and a half years ago. I started the amnesty program. Of course, I had a little backlash from the judges. Say, oh, God, why are you doing this? I'm doing it to clear up warrants and to help people. That's what I'm doing. So we started that, and it's been running 12, 13 years strong. The amnesty program has been running, and my main thing is to get more people to come up. When we say amnesty, we mean amnesty. We mean that you're not going to jail, especially, but we try to distinguish and let individuals know. Now, if you come down on a murder charge, that's totally different. You wanted for murder and you got a warrant, and that's totally different. Right. I mean, so that's why I tell individuals, that's why it's so important for us to listen. And when we say amnesty program, we say all city court matters. Not cattle sheriff's office matters, right. Not state matters, not United States matters. All city court matters. If you've been arrested by a deputy marshal, one of my guys, or by the Shreveport Police Department, for the most, it comes to my court. Right. On your DWI charges, on your domestic charges, tickets. On your tickets, different stuff like that. It comes to my court. So that's what we're clearing up for individuals without having the fear of going to jail. So that's my spiel on what we do and how we try to resolve and relieve people of some of the burdens that they have. And that's everybody.
Is there a maximum amount of times that a marshal can be reelected?
We can run as many times that the people will elect us. Yes, if we're good, then I don't think we'll have a problem. It's no statute limitation of, time that marshals or sheriffs. Marshals and the sheriffs can run as many times as they can, until they die. And that's can be good, can be bad. I don't know. But I just feel if it's not broke, it don't need fixing. I mean, if they're being good and doing good for the community, for the entire community, that's everybody in its entirety. And I believe that, so be it.
So right now we live in a very, very diverse community. Let me ask you, do you have any Hispanic-speaking officers in your office, translators? Is there any special type of protocol, towards Latinos or Hispanics?
Well, we've had deputies that were there. Juan Torres left, and he went to the Federal Air Marshals. Very good friend of mine. Grew up in, I think one of the countries, Puerto Rico. Yeah, grew up in Puerto Rico, very fluent in Spanish. And Juan spoke about 3 different languages. Oh, wow. He did, yeah. So he was pretty versatile, and we still keep in contact. He's a sergeant, a K-9 sergeant with the DFW police now, and he's been there for a long time since he left the Federal Air Marshals. He just like. Marshall, he said, man, all that traveling and flying all over the place, he said, man, you just get worn out, you just get tired. And he did it for 8-10 years. And he left, and now he's with the DFW, which he's loving the K-9 position that he's in. So Juan Torres was our first, and then we had Correlia Ruiz. She was our next interpreter for the office, and she left and went back to Texas. She stayed for 3 or 4 years there with me and went back to Texas for, family matters or what have you. And now we do have our interpreter, which is Miss Valentina. And Ms. Valentina, she has been very successful in helping us and coming to court and doing introduction through the Spanish community. And I've met several of the individuals that she had brought to court to interpret. And she let them know that if they ever have a problem, they can come see me. I give them my business card, let them know, that they can come and talk with me anytime, or have Miss Valentina call me if they have certain problems. So Miss Valentina is the latest. It's the latest when it comes to Spanish interpreters down at Shreveport City Court. And Valentina I think she's universal now. She's with federal court, cattle court, and city court. So she helps out with all of our deal, even my amnesty program, to try to get, the Hispanics to come take care of their business as well, because I'm sure they have business just as blacks, just as whites, just as other ethnicities and stuff like that. So I just feel people come take care of their business will take care of them. That's just simple.
Easy, sounds yes, fair. Now, what is the funding situation right now as far as city marshals? Because I know that, as far as Black Lives Matters go and everything that's going on in national news, you hear the whole defund the police. I believe it's ridiculous. But,
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, so here's my question. What exactly is the city doing to better, payment for police officers? Because, one of the things you just told me is some of your officers left that spoke Spanish. I'm guessing they found a better opportunity somewhere else.
That's right.
So what are we able to do to keep good officers here? Because, a lot of them are leaving from all departments, from Shreveport PD,
that's right,
from sheriffs, from marshals.
Yes.
They're going to better places because,
that's right,
there's something going on in the area that we're not paying them enough or not doing enough for them.
Well, Brian, that's interesting that you brought that up, because we were just talking about that today, about officers leaving and the pay scales. Matter of fact, Shreveport is we're dealing with budget issues right now, dealing with the pay of officers. And my main thing is that that quarter-cent sales tax that may be coming up, that definitely need to be addressed. Definitely need to be on that ballot, not on this November 3rd ballot. I think they're going to run it on a separate ballot, in the future, to get that quarter-cent sales tax for the raises for police and firemen, to actually get us close to the wages of the bigger cities or other cities. You have some of the smaller cities in Texas that are making $60,000 starting as an officer. Here, they're starting at $34,000, $35,000. That's what they're starting here. But when you can start at $60,000, why, with less problems?
Right.
So why come to Shreveport with all these problems, and you can go over to a smaller city in a bigger state and make more, and with less headache?
So one of the bigger arguments there is that if you defund the police, you add money you take money from that pot and you put towards like education and role modeling stuff, and just things to help out the community, to try to prevent crime from happening, rather than, I guess, enforcing law once crime is happening. Not sure if that's kind of like a chicken and the egg type of question,
That definitely, Brian. I mean, I gotta admit on that's an interesting scenario as well. If you defund the police, then what happens to law and order? So things, the law and order, what keeps it well balanced. Keep it well balanced. I mean, when individuals know that it's a chance of them getting arrested for doing something illegal, then less likely they're not going to try it. But if there's no governing agency of law, then what happens? Oh, I can do whatever I want to do. It's all good. They can't arrest me. They're not going to arrest me. So if there's no law enforcement there, then individuals will break the law. If they don't feel that there's a governing body that's a sense of deterrence for them, then they're going to keep doing what they do. Then that's when things become rampant, because you got the people that want to live a simple life and want to live a lawful life, but the people who trying to get over on society or other people, they're going to come and violate these peaceful people. Then if you don't have police to call, then who you going to call?
Ghostbusters.
I wanted to say that, but I wasn't, I mean, but you really got to look at really on the severity of it.
Right.
You want law and order, or you just want.
I mean, we just saw the whole Minneapolis thing going on where they took over they called the autonomous, it was just complete chaos in that area.
That's right.
So
because
it's a perfect example of what would happen.
Perfect example. That's right. And that's where we don't want to get.
Absolutely.
That's where we don't want to be. That's right. So actually, it's an educational thing. We're learning from these other cities, on what not to do.
Right.
Right.
And that's a good thing that is displayed on that level. And I really hate that it's happening in these cities. Mm-hmm. But education is what gonna make law enforcement strong. Education, training, knowing how to do, when to do it.
Right.
That's what's going to make them strong. Getting out there, relating with the public, talking with the public, not looking at an individual because he talks different than you or looks different than you, being there regardless.
Absolutely.
Because they're a person, they're a human being. I think that's the better way to do it. And once we get past our biases,
right.
About each other, what differentiates us from each other, mm-hmm. I believe we'll have a better working society. And it's hard to actually screen and interview officers, when they're trying to get on, because mm-hmm. you don't really know their agenda.
Right.
You had some of them that were bullied in school. I mean, I know officers that have gotten on the force that, were bullied back in school. Now I got a badge and a gun. Now I wish they would try that now. Right. It's a getting back thing.
Right.
And it shouldn't be that way. It should always just be because you have a passion for it. It's to help people. Mm-hmm. It's to do the right thing.
See, I have a show weekly with a Caddo sheriff, Jairo Rivera. He comes here and he talks to our Latino community every week, and he does a great job. But my dynamic with him is trying to get to see the people mm-hmm. what an officer has to see, going through the scenarios that an officer has to go through, mm-hmm. and we recognize. One thing in particular is the fact that you guys have to deal with the worst of the worst, especially mm-hmm. those that are patrolling out in the streets. Mm-hmm. You get a phone call, boom, murder. You get a mm-hmm. phone call, boom, drug dealer, overdose. Right. Somebody got shot. Somebody got stabbed. Suicides. Right. And you get to see the worst of the worst of the worst every day of your life. So once you just see that throughout the day, you kind of lose hope in society. You kind of get to see.
Well, what is your coping mechanism after seeing all that? I've been doing it over 30 years, and all of my 20s, all of my 30s, all of my 40s, and now in my 50s. So I've gotten to see it from every perspective, from the 80s, 90s, 2000, on up, and watch it change every decade. Law enforcement, the criminal element, from older individuals to young individuals, to juveniles that act as if they don't have anything to live for, or have any positive outlook on life or future, mm-hmm. or don't care about taking a life.
Right.
And you have a lot of them that are just like that. But a lot of times I do blame our system for taking discipline out of the homes. How parents, back in our day, could whip us.
Right.
We come out just fine. But now if you whip a child, what do they want to do? Because of legislative laws, constitutional laws. Now if you whip them, now the parents going to jail for whipping that child. But what kind of message is that sending out in that household? They're letting that child know, I run this.
Right.
Because if they put their hands on their child again, you're going to go to jail again. Mm-hmm. So really, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't.
Right.
In that situation, because of the way the law works. Right. I believe that seasoned, that trained law enforcement officer should come in and analyze the situation. Mm-hmm. See, and you have the right mind to differentiate a beating to, or a basic whipping.
Right.
And if you can't distinguish that, then what are you doing on the force? Everybody that whipped their child doesn't need to go to jail. And I stand behind that 100%. I got whippings.
I mean, there's a limitation to it. Of course,
there you go. That's a limitation.
Break your
That's
kid's neck or stuff like that.
That's why I say it's a difference between a beating and
a whooping.
Yeah, that's right. A basic whipping. You know, to get that kid, let him know you did something wrong, so it's got to be punished. You know, and sometimes getting in the corner, you know, putting your nose in the corner, it's not going to work.
So I think this leads basically directly into my next question. You know, me working in the media, we get to deal with the aftermath of what you guys report on. You know, once you guys go and see the crime scenes and all that, we get to hear about it and we get to tell to the world. You know, same thing, sex trafficking, murders, shootings, arrests, all that. And it just makes me question entirely, you know, what is the root of all this evil, specifically here in the area, here in Shreveport? Why is it that our crime seems to be higher than other areas? Is it that we're speaking louder about it? Or is it really that much more?
Brian, I want to really blame a lot of it on social media. You know, back in the day when you didn't have the media as widely pronounced as it is now, it was the same crime, but
statistically,
but you didn't have a phone that you can go and do this, or you didn't have people getting on this social media and getting all these followers and making it happen like this. So you didn't have all those followers and all that stuff back when I was growing up. You know, you just didn't have that type of communication. But I know individuals been dying since this world been in existence. You know, individuals been getting shot. You've been having robberies. You've been having all kind of active shootings and different things like this going on around the world. But when media wasn't that accessible, you heard about it, but you didn't hear it as flamboyant as you hear it now.
Right.
You know, but now you hear it because social media. And then the way you want a story, the way you want to twist it to make a story too, to make a story more juicy.
Right.
You know, my main thing, tell it like it is, tell the basics of it, because you got some individuals that's just try to get into it, you know, to make it a lot worse than what it really is, and sometimes it's not. Yeah, sometimes it may be. You know, it just depends on the situation, and it depends on who's covering it.
I'm basing this mainly on the numbers as far as the United States murder rate based on cities.
You know, numbers can be manipulated all the time. Yeah, numbers are always manipulated.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, a lot of times, you know, it's not accuracy, it's manipulation.
Okay.
And one person say one thing and not even going to check to actually see. They hear this and they take it and they run with it. Tell the next one, oh man, you heard it? Man, 12 people got killed last night. It may have been 5 people got killed.
Right.
Man, 12 people got killed last night. Oh man, you serious? Oh man, where at? Oh, there in this neighborhood. Oh man, I didn't know that. Oh man, yeah man, I heard that 12 people got killed last night. Oh, I heard 15, you know. Then so now it trickles, you know, word of mouth. You know, instead of just finding out the facts for yourself. I think when people find out the facts for themselves, go facts check for themselves, I think things go a lot. It may not be what they really want to see, but it's there. And if it's not what they really want to see, then it's not worth gossiping about. You know, if it's something that they want to see and they want to make it a little bit more juicier because they knew the person, they knew the entities, or they because they got a beef against the police department, or they got a beef against the marshal's office, or against the sheriff's office. Yeah, they want to tell, oh man, that's a tragedy that this happened, you know, but you know, they need to put, you know, stipulations on these cops and all this because of this shit. Yeah, I know a couple of them that are dirty personally, yeah, you know, and then that's how things get to rolling. That's how media happens, you know, that's how social media happens. And then that's how people get, you know, talking bad about this, talking bad. I hear it all the time. Right. I mean, I got individuals in every walk of life, you know, from the craziness to, you know, felons to whatever that I know. You know, just because your police doesn't exempt you from knowing convicted felons, or knowing, you know, individuals that have multiple arrests and stuff like that. I know everybody. I've talked to everybody. People feel confident they can come and talk to me about certain things. So when they talk, and, you know, and other people talk, you know, then, yeah, it gets out, and sometimes it gets out a little bit more exaggerated than it should get exaggerated. But then again, it's nothing to really stop it, and the only way you're going to deal with it, just let it die down.
All right. Yeah. Marshal, it's a pleasure meeting you.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. And
yes, sir.
educating us
Yes.
about the position. Mic's open. Is there anything else you would like to say to the Latino community?
Well, my main thing is that, we do have an election coming up, and I am Charlie Caldwel, I'm number 77 on the ballot, and I definitely want all votes, especially want my friends in the Latin community to definitely, know they've been there with me, they know me. We've hung out together, and that's how we do it, and I'm not going to stop being Charlie just because I'm the marshal. I'm Charlie because, hey, it's just me, and that's just the way it is.
Thank you so much, Marshal.
Thank you.
Damas y caballeros, para 318, I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, for 318 Latino again, this is Brian Garcia. This has been an interview with the City Marshal Caldwel, Charlie Caldwel. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. We'll see you on the next episode.